Hello everybody and welcome back to RogueTech, where we have some repairs to do. We took a relatively small amount of damage, really, looking at this. I've moved the Epimetheus Prime to the top of the list because it's not going to take very long to get through everything else here. So that'll be fine. We'll tick forward a few days here. 2 days for our mech warriors. Weasel Cakes will be a little bit longer than that. 1 more day to get our archer complete, and we can deploy at this point. So let's hop into the barracks, and let's see what we've got available for promotions.
Waiting for orders.
Dan can get a point of piloting. Looks good. Anybody else in here?
Yes, boss. Waiting for orders.
Well, for hard case, we can grab a point of gunnery. That is fantastic. We're very glad about that. Anything else?
Commander. What's up, boss?
Well, so far there's a lot of nothing. I guess a point of piloting for Succubus will be fine. And then we've got good old Weasel Cakes here with nothing to be done. Okay, so at this point we can hop into the command center and let's see what we've got to do. We've got 1 to 2 more deploys left in us this month, depending on how much damage we take here. Even if we take a lot of damage, it would be relatively fine. In theory. What do we got going on here? This is a destroy base mission. It's a very ambitious operation that just finished. Okay, what do we got going on here? This is against Steiner. That's fascinating. We could run it about here and call this good. It's a 5-skull destroy base, so the turrets are probably going to be a bit of a problem. Steiner will deploy 4 mech lances. The question is how many of them, and how many of those units are going to be heavy bombers. That's the ultimate question here. Let's see what we've got going on, and it's going to be potentially spicy, but even if we do take a good amount of damage, it's not the worst thing here. Rifleman, crossbow CRS 6C, and the crossbow X, I think those are all correct. And Darius thinks it's going to be hard, so that is a good sign. I'll see you guys after the loading screen. So here we are all loaded up, and let's see what we've got in here. The question is how many heavy bombers and how many lances.
Initiated.
It's a secure facility. Okay, sure. We're turret inspectors. Here to clean your turrets. I like it. Okay, so we're going to move in. The rain will help with heat sinking, so at least we don't have to deal with all that radiation. So the base garrison is here. The base itself is here. There'll definitely be turrets. We can use this hill as cover here to dip behind if we want to not fire at the turrets immediately. We'll see what that ends up looking like. So we'll just drop in here for right now, and that'll give us a good overview of the situation. Presumably they have turrets. They definitely do have turrets. And I'm assuming they have more than just this in the area. Marauder, a stealth, a marauder, and a marauder. That is not very threatening. So we see a hardened Gauss emplacement, a long Tom emplacement. That's got to go. A hardened UAC emplacement, and what is this? A heavy Gauss. So all of these turrets are relatively high threat. That is noted. We absolutely want to get into cover here, but the turrets aren't necessarily going to fire this round. I'm going to put the archer here.
Got it. Max speed, no shooting.
That'll be fine for now. The Black Knight is going to move up into this cover here. But again, these turrets aren't going to be firing in this first round. So we can position our crossbow here and then change its positioning up a little bit later on. So I do want to move in with our crossbow X. We're making for this cover. And that's that stealth moving up. Again, a stealth is not tremendously threatening. So this seems reasonably fine for now. But there's probably going to be at least 1 more lance. We'll see.
Commander.
That said, we do have eyes on the base. We might not be close enough to spawn it yet. Sometimes it'll spawn, sometimes it won't. We'll put the Bandersnatch here. Next up is our Nidhogg, which is just going to start accelerating up. We may well drop bombs on that Long Tom emplacement. I very much want that Long Tom emplacement to cease to exist. The Marauder is going to move up over here and brace. Okay, they've got their own 3 Marauders, of course.
Yes, Commander.
Our Devastator is just going to start accelerating up over this way.
Full speed.
That Marauder moves in. Their turrets aren't going to fire in this first round, of course. So the Marksman SPG is just going to sit back out of LOS, back over here. Looks good.
Commander.
And then our second Devastator is just going to start heading down towards this road. Okay. So that seems fine for the moment. They move pretty late as well. So that's noted. Okay. Top priorities. Getting rid of this long tom cannon emplacement. Getting rid of, well, all of these turrets, to be honest. That is a very, very high level goal here. So we're going to position our crossbow X here. We're prioritizing the long tom emplacement. It's only got 300 armor, so let's start chipping right through that.
Weapons are go.
Okay, so we got some structure exposure there on that long tom emplacement. That's a good sign. Next up, phase 20, that's going to be this stealth. It's going to move in. It doesn't do that much damage. And for the moment, we're in a reasonable-ish position. It positions over here and goes for a Devastator, hitting basically everything there. Okay, that's fine. Next up, we are going to utilize our Archer. The Archer is not in cover at this moment. I feel like the Archer is overkill for the long tom. I'm thinking about utilizing the Archer on the hardened Gauss emplacement here. Starting to chip through that armor. Do it.
This should be good.
Okay, good armor reduction on that hardened Gauss emplacement.
Ready for order.
Next up is our Black Knight. I would like the Black Knight to head out over here,
Onward.
and I want the Black Knight to finish off that long tom emplacement. I'm going to fire the binary laser in X2 mode because we're crit fishing.
Locked and loaded. Here it comes.
Okay, fantastic. The long tom is out of here.
One
They
left
do
in
not
line
get
for
to
us.
use their long tom. That's very, very important, of course. So next up would be our Marauder. The Marauder can position out here. It can get LOS on just this heavy Gauss emplacement. We're going to take that shot. So that's just softening up the armor on that heavy Gauss emplacement, and we did manage to tag it as well. So that's looking good. Next up is going to be our Rifleman. The Rifleman can't quite make it into cover, but we can position it here and go for this hardened Gauss emplacement. It's likely, well, we're going to chunk through the armor here, but I don't think we're going to take this out with this shot. Yeah, that's what I thought. So that'll be fine.
Taking a critical hit.
We just don't want those hardened Gauss
Commander?
emplacements doing things, right? So we do have this guy out over here. He is behind these turrets and doesn't really have LOS. So I'm not prioritizing that right now. I'm going to fire on this heavy Gauss emplacement
Firing on target.
because this would be overkill on the other one. So structure exposure and a DHS engine kit explosion
Turret
looks good.
destroyed.
So that's 2 turrets gone. Next up, they are going to get to move 2 of their Marauders, I think. Yeah, these 2 Marauders. So we'll see what they do. They are energy-based. This one's got a ballistic. Okay. Noted. So the Mad 4D moves up, goes for our crossbow. That is unsurprising that it fired on the crossbow there. The crossbow is not in cover and has no evasive. So that is not at all surprising.
Reporting major armor loss.
However, that Marauder took a lot of damage from that. So next up is going to be our Grasshopper. The Grasshopper is going to move in right here.
Warning. Enemy reinforcements detected.
And there it is. Okay, where are those reinforcements at? I do not currently see the reinforcements. I'm going to eliminate this hardened Gauss emplacement. And now there's the contacts. Okay, where are they? We need to know.
Target eliminated.
We very much need to know where this is. Oh, they're right behind us. Archer, Hauptmann, an Atlas, and a Hunchback. Oh, this is a really awkward place for them to be. Okay. Well, they're going to go for our Grasshopper here. That's okay. So we're going to need to split our force a little bit.
Hit there. My armor's in bad shape.
Okay. So I'm thinking about how we want to do this with the units that we have left.
They will be done.
This Devastator can't really make its way around over here. So I want to position it out over this direction. We can start to fire on some of these guys and do potentially a lot of damage to them. 34.5, 40.8. These are low hit odds. Did we fail our sensor roll? No? Okay. Noted. We're better off with precision, and we're going to fire those.
Engaging.
Straight into that side arc of the Marauder. We got a little bit of damage there, but not as much as I'd
Yes,
like.
Commander.
Now, here is something to think about. We could get into rear arc almost of these guys, or we could get into side arc out over here. Now, I'm going to reserve the Nidhogg. Okay, so phase 13, they're going to move someone up over here. That'll be this Marauder. Okay. Going for the Grasshopper? That makes sense. Okay. Reasonably fine for the moment. Now that we're not focusing on the turrets, we'll tear through these mechs very quickly.
Awaiting orders.
This Devastator could position out over here. I'm just thinking about how we want to do this.
Waiting for
The
orders.
Bandersnatch wants to pull back. Definitely. Because I'm thinking about dropping bombs directly on this Atlas. That's going to splash damage our archer. It might splash damage our crossbow. This marksman needs to get out of the way as well. So I'm going to put the Bandersnatch back over here. And we're going to fire on one of these. So this is going to be on this Atlas. Now this is going to overheat us. That's acceptable. I just want to chip through some of its armor. And yes, that's minimum range. That's understood. So next up is going to be this Devastator. I'm going to position the Devastator later. So we'll get back to that one. Next up is the Marksman SPG. I want to get that out over here. Because I want to fire the Marksman at this Atlas if we can. But actually the Hauptmann is the target. Okay. So this is going to have to be in direct fire artillery mode, but that's actually still in minimum range. Can we fire it on the Hunchback? No, we're still in minimum range here. Okay, that's very sad. I had planned to fire artillery here, no matter what. This is gonna really suck with these guys right here, like this. Okay, so next up, the Nidhogg absolutely needs to move in over here. Not this position, but this position. So we're going to position here. We're going to fire on this Atlas. The Daisy Cutter bomb only has a 35% chance to hit, but it should do something over here. That should be okay. High explosive bomb, we're going to fire everything. Light him up. So we definitely did some splash damage to our own units there. That's understood.
Reporting. Multiple weapons with no ammo.
Okay, so that was a lot of damage dealt over here.
bad.
That turret sensor locks
much
us,
armor
that's
left in that
expected.
location?
And now I want the Devastator to come in over this way.
Roger
We can
that.
fire on either of these. I'm going to fire on the Hauptmann, and that is because of stray shot. We're going to fire precision rounds,
Affirmative.
but let's see what we can get done there. Okay, that is significantly better. Now the question is, when do these guys move? Quite late. Okay, but so do we. This is going to be awkward. Our archer's in a really bad spot right now. The stealth moves up, and for the moment, this is probably fine.
Receiving you.
Yes. So the crossbow is also in a bad spot here. We're heavily flanked, right? So I kind of want to move in and start melee attacking these guys. So we can attack the Atlas from this side. It's relatively fresh on this side, but we can run a kick, and we can absolutely attack the Atlas from over here.
Moving to.
So we're going to move in, and we're going to melee it. That's a successful melee.
Oh, it's on now.
And that's a fair amount of damage into that Atlas. Next up, they're going to move a couple of Marauders, firing ow on that Grasshopper. We haven't really been able to do anything with that yet.
That shot got past my armor.
He actually shut down, I think. Yes, he did. That's intriguing. Now, the Crossbow X absolutely needs to pull back. We need to be in position to deal with some of these guys, right? And the Atlas is the target here, the only target here. We're going to fire on the Boar's Head Atlas and hopefully penetrate his armor here. Nice. So the Atlas is out of here. That's huge. Next up, we need to take out more of these units, right? We're going to need to move our archer. We get to move our archer after their archer and their hunchback. So that's kind of bad. This marauder is going to fire on our grasshopper. Our grasshopper is taking a lot of damage. An engine crit and a heat sink destruction. Okay.
More mech is
This would be
coming
a lot less bad of a situation if these guys hadn't have dropped right into the rear arc of our fire support mechs. No doubt about that. So we'll see what the archer and the hunchback decide to do here. The hunchback moves over here and is going for, our archer's side arc. Okay. Our archer is in trouble, no doubt about that. Their archer moves next, and that's probably an LRM boat. Probably. It positions out over here and goes for a grasshopper rear arc. Okay. So the grasshopper definitely is in trouble. We
heavy
may
hits,
consider
Commander.
ejecting the grasshopper, but we'll see what happens with that. Next up is the archer. We're going to go in. We're going to kick the Hauptmann in this side arc. Hit odds are low, but that's what we're going to do. Unless we... Can we reach this archer over here? No, we can't. This is the only target. He has not moved yet, and we'll see if we manage to hit this. It's only a 28% chance, but let's see what we get done here. Okay, we missed it. That's sad.
I may need some more time.
That's still a structure exposure, though. Double heat sink destruction.
Critical hit, Commander.
So that Hauptmann is not in the best of states, right? No doubt about that. I want to get in behind this archer if we can. The best we can do is this side arc. I do not like that. Maybe the Hunchy? The reason I don't like that is this Hauptmann is right here. We can hit it from where we are. We can also hit it from this position. And I kind of like this front arc hit better. I'm not going to fire the LRMs here. I'm not going to fire this medium laser. But beyond that, we'll just hit this archer. Successful melee. And some damage into the archer. Okay, looks good. So the successful melee is a very big deal. Now, do we want to pull back the Marauder here, or do we want to engage forward with the Marauder? Honestly, I feel like we should pull it back and come to here, attacking this Hauptmann. The archer is way higher hit odds in that side arc, though. It is fairly weak in this side arc. Light him up. So that's a leg destruction on that archer. Looks good. So he gets a knockdown. And a torso destruction. Now the question is, what does that Hauptmann do? Go for the rear arc on the Black Knight, maybe? We haven't had a chance to move the Black Knight yet. Moves up over here. Uh-huh. Going for the Grasshopper. Okay. That's a bunch of heat sinks. We lose a Ferrofibrous. The Grasshopper is in serious danger. Eventually, we'll get to do something about that. They've been focusing it extremely hard. For the time being, there's nothing we can do about that. So I want to move in with the Black Knight over here and go for the Hauptmann in that weak arc. That's exactly what I'm going to do. So we're going to position it here. We missed the binary laser, both of them. That's extremely unfortunate. But we did get an SRM ammo explosion on the Hauptmann there, and that's a very big deal. Okay, so phase 15, the Rifleman. The Rifleman is absolutely going to move forward over here. We can position it there, and then we can fire on the Stealth, we can fire on this Marauder, we can fire on this Marauder, which we'll do. Okay, light this guy up a bit. I'd kind of like the CT here. Yeah, just hit his CT. He is, of course, shut down, so we'll get to work on that. Most of our damage is being focused back over here right now. Now, they get to move one unit. This is this Marauder. They're going for the Grasshopper. And the Grasshopper is just gone. So we never had a single chance to respond to that. We'll see what happens with the Grasshopper. Plato is okay, though. He's at 2 of 4 health. So the Grasshopper may or may not be recoverable. We'll see what happens with that one. The Nidhogg is going to make its way up over this direction. I want to
Got it.
attack this Marauder, and we're going to fire with the AGM missile. Light him up.
Enemy structure is weakening.
Okay, so that Marauder is significantly weakened.
Good to go.
Next up is our Marksman, and the Marksman is going to position about over here.
Heading out.
And we're going to continue to fire on this Marauder. We need this to be in artillery mode, though. Okay.
Engage.
Continue to weaken that Marauder. Perfect.
Yes,
Next
Commander.
up is this Devastator. The Devastator can move out over here and would have marginal hit odds on some of these.
Acknowledged.
Okay. 40%. I like the 72 on this Hunchy, though. Light him up.
Everything I've got.
So that was a lot of damage there. That Hunchy is actually
On
gone.
now.
So that's looking good. Unfortunate that we never got a chance to respawn with the Grasshopper. It's just when we rolled the initiative and they focused it tremendously hard.
Commander?
So at this point, they can't really continue to do that, though, is the thing. So this Hauptmann has no side arc. I'm wondering what our hit odds would be if we positioned here. Actually, really solid. I'm going to do that.
Confirmed.
I'm going to position the Devastator here, and we're going to fire into the rear arc of this Hauptmann. It's a likely kill.
Copy that. No retreat.
And there we go. -1 Hauptmann.
Hostile eliminated.
Fantastic. That's 75% of these
No
units back here
retreat.
gone. This archer still exists.
Orders.
And the crossbow is going to close in and finish it off. I
Roger.
don't expect it to survive this salvo. Not the right torso, center torso. Thank you. And there we go. There's their reinforcements out of here.
That's
Fantastic.
One less hostile on the field.
Okay, next up, we can focus up over here. If the Grasshopper is completely gone, we can just ready another mech for that. It would be unfortunate, but it's not the end of the world. Let's move the Black Knight up to here. We can fire on any of these units here. And of course, the choice is the shutdown Marauder. Absolutely. I want the binary laser in binary mode.
Firing all weapons.
Double heat sink
Alright.
destruction there, two
Hard
of them.
now. Inflicted some heavy damage.
But that wasn't as much focus as I would have liked into that CT. It's okay.
Ready.
Next up is our crossbow. Now, the crossbow is going to position somewhere out over here. We can fire on this Marauder, or we can fire on this Stealth. All of these are terrible hit odds. ECM jamming. Okay. It's probably the Stealth. We'll start to chip down the Stealth a little bit here. That definitely is something that will need to happen.
I'm out of long-range missiles.
Well, you're out of that type of long-range missile. So that is fine, and we're going to move up with our Marauder over here. This Marauder is going to continue to fire. Actually, we can't fire on that Marauder. Okay, we'll have to start chipping down one of these. I'm going to go for this one. Not a lot of damage in there. Okay. I would have ejected the Grasshopper if we had had a chance, but they focused it so hard we never got a chance to move it again. Very sad, but that happens, and we'll see what state it's in. So the Stealth moves up, and it is going to go for our Rifleman. Okay. Yeah, the Rifleman is definitely in a bait position here.
Reporting minimal damage.
I'm wondering how much evasive the Stealth got from that. 7?
Waiting
Interesting.
for orders.
So we can position the Rifleman in this cover, and that's absolutely what I'm going to do. We're going to fire on this Marauder, and this could easily be a
Firing
kill.
full complement on it.
And it wasn't. That's okay. Next up is our Devastator. Now, the Devastator can position right in rear arc of this Stealth. I don't know that this is actually what we want to take here. 47.3. I feel like we could stray shot our Rifleman very, very easily like this. Yeah, I don't think this is the call. I think that we fire on this Marauder and get it dead.
Roger that. Hell
Okay,
yeah.
so that's a torso destruction.
Solid connection on that one.
That's a lot of that Marauder gone,
All
but
out AC-20
it's taking
ammo.
us a little bit to chip through it. This Marauder moves over, fires on the Rifleman. That is quite expected. The Rifleman is obviously going to be the target here. We managed to get it to cover, but that's not going to be the end of the world, right? For their plans. So I would like to move our Nidhogg up over this way and start working on this turret here? I'm thinking about here. So we'll position it here, and we'll start to work on this hardened UAC emplacement.
Engaging.
We don't want to take fire from that if we can help it. So we'll start to chip down that armor.
Heavy damage.
That'll be good.
I've got no ammo in multiple weapons.
Next up would be our Bandersnatch. The Bandersnatch can position here. We could fire indirect on this Marauder, We could fire direct on this Marauder, and that is, I think, the obvious choice here. I'm not going to fire some ER medium lasers. We'll just do something along the lines of this.
Engaging.
And we chip down its armor a little bit. Okay, so that looks reasonable. Next up is going to be this Marauder moving again. That is absolutely fine. I expect this Marauder to be dead very, very shortly. He's going for a Rifleman. Yep, that's reasonably expected.
Armor holding.
Cool. And we'll see what the actual damage is to the Grasshopper. I wish we could see that, but unfortunately we can't
Good
right
to
now.
go.
So our Archer moves next, and I'm going to put the Archer here. We're going for the kill on this Marauder. This will absolutely destroy it. It will even overkill it a fair amount. To be honest, we might want to fire it like this,
Roger that.
because even that'll be overkill. There we go. So the Marauder is out of here. There are 2 Marauders left, I think. Yes, there's 2 Marauders and the Stealth left. That's okay. We can definitely work our way through that. So the Devastator is going to move its way up. I don't like this angle necessarily. This angle is much better.
On my way.
We position it
Double time.
here, and we fire on this Stealth in precision mode. Hit odds are low, but if we hit it, we'll do a lot.
Give them everything I've
And we
got.
did manage to hit it there.
Hot damn, let's do this.
So that looks
All
good.
out of
That was a
18,
lot of
20
side arc damage into that Stealth. Next up is our Marksman, which is absolutely dropping artillery on this hardened UAC emplacement. Kaboom. Now the hardened UAC emplacement is still alive, and it'll fire now. Managed to hit 2 of those 4 shots on our Nidhogg with 10 evasive. It's fairly impressive, but it won't survive too much longer. So next up, I want to bring our Crossbow X up over here, and the Crossbow X is absolutely going for the Stealth in the strong side, apparently. I expected this to be the weak side, but I guess we were attacking it from the front arc. Okay, well, we'll light him up and do a bunch of damage here. Structure exposure.
I'll break him in 2.
And we got a head hit on him. It's not quite as much as I had hoped there. Okay. I was at least hoping for making him unsteady. We could position our Archer here and follow
On my
up with
way.
the Archer attack, and I like this call.
Got it.
There we go. The Stealth is gone. So that's fantastic. Next up, of course, is the two additional Marauders up over this way. So we're going to head forward with this Marauder.
Moving to
And checking
position.
these hit odds, it's probably going to be this guy. It's actually exactly the same. So who do we want to target here? This one has less armor, so we'll start working on that. Mediocre hits, but that is reasonably expected at this point.
Order.
So the crossbow is going to position somewhere up over here, and we can continue to chip down this armor with listen kill ammo. Do it.
On it.
Okay, so that Marauder is getting softened. Looks good.
Ready for orders.
Next up would be our Black Knight, which is going to position
On the way.
here, firing on this Marauder. In X2 mode, for sure.
Targeted for now.
Sadly, both of those binary laser shots missed, but we did a little bit of armor damage to it and closed in. Next up is this Marauder, and it's going to back off a little bit, firing on our Rifleman. That is unsurprising. It does manage to get through that torso. We need to back off our Rifleman. We get to move our Rifleman next. It's not like it rolled to phase 13 like the Grasshopper. So we're going to definitely move the Rifleman back a bit here. I don't love this positioning, but I guess it's okay. This would be the right side out over here, though. So really, we need to turn it like this.
Roger that. No shooting, just running.
Okay. And we'll see what this Marauder decides to do with that. Okay, he moves up over here and still manages to fire on the Rifleman, getting through the armor on the other arm now as well. Okay. Well, that's not ideal, but they only have the 2 units at this point.
Standing by.
So our Devastator can move in here. We could actually charge their Marauder. It would be an interesting call to do so. You know what? I'm going to do it. We're going to get in here with our Devastator and
Locked
kaboom.
on for physical attack.
So that's a successful melee. It does a lot of damage to our Devastator, but it gives us a knockdown on that Marauder and really chunks down his armor. 200 points of damage there and a knockdown.
Commander.
So that's great. I'm going to take our Nidhogg up over here. We're going to continue to hit that hardened UAC emplacement. That is incredibly important. We don't have any AGM missiles at this point, but we're just going to have to use the Arrow 4 or the high explosive bomb. We do have one of those left. We'll use that.
Firing on target.
No reach.
Okay, so we're almost through the hardened
I've got
UAC
multiple
emplacements
weapons
armor.
with no ammo.
Almost. Next
Standing
up is
by.
our other Devastator, which that I want to get around over this way. I saw a location here. Where was that? Here.
Roger that.
Okay, from here we could fire on any of these, but I want that hardened UAC emplacement absolutely obliterated.
Come on, people, let's make
It's
it happen.
actually still alive.
Scored a critical hit.
Okay, that is something that the artillery can finish off. So the Bandersnatch from here wants to position somewhere different, but it doesn't actually get a different position. We're going to need to fire on this Marauder. Okay. Light him up. I don't love firing on this Marauder, but it is the only option for us at this moment. So next up is our
Waiting for
SPG,
orders.
which is absolutely going to finish off this hardened UAC
Target
emplacement.
confirmed.
Get rid of it.
Hit him hard.
There we go.
Report.
So with that gone,
Turret
we don't have to be worrying about any additional turrets. And all we need to do now is take out this Marauder and this Marauder. So that looks
my
good.
attention.
Our Crossbow X is not able to get anywhere particularly useful.
Copy
I'm just
that.
going to position it here and sink heat. Next
Standing
up
by.
is our Rifleman. And the Rifleman really needs to, like, evac back over this way.
Order received.
So we're going to pull the Rifleman
I'm
back.
ready.
The Black Knight is going to move up over here. I want to go for this
Rolling.
knocked down Marauder with the binary laser in binary mode. Hit that CT. So that's a structure exposure on that Marauder.
I'm under heavy fire.
Not that heavy. Okay, yep, that's definitely a solid structure exposure there.
Commander.
Next up is this crossbow. I'm going to put it here. We're going to continue to fire on this Marauder. We've only got 70 rounds of listen kill missiles left, and this is going to fire not 70. Okay,
Got it.
do it. So that's the
Let's
structure
go.
exposure on that Marauder. Next
Yes,
up
Commander.
is our Nidhogg. I'm going to put the Nidhogg about here. No, not there. About here. And we're going to fire on this Marauder. We're going to fire our Arrow 4. It's a little close for the
Dropping
Arrow
on
4, but
target.
let's see what we get done there.
Yeah.
Nice. That was basically ideal. Okay, next up is our Marauder, which is going to position right up over here, and let's see about taking this guy out. These are low odds. Okay. Well, we still get some
Yes,
decent shots
give
in there,
them
taking out a
everything
double
you've got.
heatsink. That's reasonably fine. And then
Good to
we've
go.
got our Archer here, which wants to position up over here. I think we're probably best off using our Archer on this Marauder crit fishing in the CT.
Here we go. We can
And there we
do
go.
this.
It's gone.
Let's go.
Fantastic. So
Next,
now there's
destroy.
just this Marauder remaining. Who moves next? Well, that is
Receiving
this
you.
Devastator. I want to position it up in this side arc, maybe about here,
Position confirmed.
and light him up. I don't want to do another charge, but this Marauder has very little armor, and that's a lot of damage. Beautiful. Okay, so all we got to do now is eliminate the base. Sounds good. That was awkward.
Order.
No doubt about it. Having them drop directly in our backline like that, that was really, really awkward.
It's go time.
Okay, so let's just finish off this detention
Taking heavy
facility
hits, Commander.
and call it good.
Order.
Beautiful. So next up would be our Bandersnatch. That can take out this military building. No problem whatsoever there.
Good shot, Commander. Enemy structure down.
And we can just eliminate the next one very, very swiftly as well. It should be already relatively softened.
Commander.
This Devastator is just going to position here,
Move order
and this will do the
confirmed.
trick.
Confirmed.
Okay. So the question is, what is the status of the Grasshopper, right? We'll find out. It could be theoretically fully destroyed. However, the pilot should be okay. So even if we lose the Grasshopper, it's not that big of a deal. We'll just ready another 70-ish ton mech, and it should be fine. We can definitely have another mech in that role. Something like a Warhammer would be pretty great. We'll see. We'll see what we've got available. I don't think we have a Warhammer available. An Orion would be a little dated, I think, but we'll see what we've got. 1.8 million C-bills. And unfortunately, we were just never able to do anything with the Grasshopper. Interesting. The CT didn't actually go away. We did lose the Engine XL and the Engine Heatsink, Engine Core 280, and like all of its weapons. So that's a little rough, but I don't think the Grasshopper is going to be fully destroyed by that. So let's see about replenishing maybe one of those things. Ooh, a heavy Gauss rifle. What's the knockdown chance on a heavy Gauss rifle these days? 28. Ooh, okay, that's pretty high. Maybe something like a silver bullet Gauss, but no, I don't think so. We should have ferrofibrous. We could just take 5 double heat sinks. That's probably okay. We aren't going to have that engine heat sink, but I'm reasonably okay with that. A UAC-20 double ton ammo. Hang on. Do we have a UAC-20? If we do, that would be a really good thing to put in something like the Grasshopper. We have a UAC-10. We don't have a UAC-20. Okay, and a UAC-20 is not available in the salvage. So I don't think this is great to take, although it would be phenomenal to have around. Let's see what we get. We get a case, medium pulse laser, basic cockpit, generic structure. We did get a through armor AC-20. Okay, so it's going to be a fair amount of repair on that Grasshopper. We may be able to run the Epimetheus in lieu of the Grasshopper, but I think that'll put us 5 tons overweight. That's my current theory, anyway. I am definitely surprised that they focused the Grasshopper as hard as they did, but here we are. So that'll be interesting, getting that repaired for sure. The ferrofibrous armor should be replaceable. I'm a little more concerned about the XL engine. That's going to be spicy. And that's the reason. Oh, it was fully destroyed. Really, it didn't even lose the CT, and it was considered fully destroyed. Okay, so we're going to have to get a different mech set up in that slot. It should be a 70-tonner, and let's see what we've got available. Go ahead and do this, Yang. That's absolutely fine. We're going to need to do some internal repair work on the rifleman, I believe. Everything else, I don't think broke through the armor. But we definitely need a new 70-tonner. We need to repair the rifleman. Let's get this rifleman redone right now. Is this actually loading? I didn't click on the refit button. Apparently. Okay, so that seems fine. We'll just get all of that done. No major issues there. Just needed to do a little bit of internal work. That seems fine. Now, let's see what we've got for a 70-tonner. So that's going to be something along the lines of an Avatar we could do. We could, of course, do a Grasshopper. We do have a Warhammer, a few Warhammer parts, but we don't have enough to make a Warhammer here. Okay. We could get ourselves another Grasshopper. I don't really like that idea. These avatars have Omni hardpoints, though. We could definitely do this. Let's confirm that. And let's get this avatar going. And this is going to be in a very similar sort of role. But we're going to need to get that repaired, right? No doubt about that. So this avatar is going to need to be refitted. Let's get in here and see what we can get done here. So we'll hit the repair all button, and it's already got an XL engine. We are going to need to put in some things here, for sure. So let's max out that armor, first things first. We should probably consider putting in a ferrofibrous, or even a heavy ferro. Something like that. Do we have UAC-10 ammo yet? That is a question that I want to ask here. We have, yes, we do have UAC-10 ammo. So we could bring a few tons of UAC-10 ammo. We can put in our UAC-10. And that is going to be something that is going to be very interesting here for sure. So a UAC-10 goes possibly in like this torso. Maybe, I don't think it should go in the arm. In the torso here. We've got 18 tons to work with. We do definitely need an engine core. I'd like this to be an engine core 280 ideally. Cannot install more engine core in all locations. What? Oh, we have a 280 in here. Never mind. Okay, so that seems fine. Next, we could go with potentially even like some MRMs. So the UAC-10 ammo could go over here. We could then put in potentially MRM ammo. So a double of MRM ammo, like that. And then weapons out over here could be something like an MRM 40. And that gives us 4 tons to work with. Now, we do have enough heat sinks here. We can have an engine heat sink. We're on standard heatsink cooling right now. We could put that up to double heat sinks. I like the concept of that. We're going to have a little bit of slot trouble, but that's potentially okay. So we've got 4 tons to work with here. I would like to put in potentially a heat exchanger. So that would be something like going here, except it doesn't go in the head. It goes in the specialist slot. Gotcha. So the heat exchanger there would be fine. We could put in an engine heatsink +1. We can't have an engine heatsink +2, but we can put in an engine heatsink +1. That'll be fine. From there, we would be able to put on something like 2 lasers, I think, as like backup weapons. So something just like medium lasers. Something like 1 here and a medium laser over here as well. We could theoretically go for ERs, and that may not be the worst idea. We'll have to see what the heat is like. So an ER medium laser out over this way, and do we not have another ER medium? Apparently we don't have another ER medium. So we'll have 1 ER medium laser and 1 medium laser. And then we can put in a heat sink, which I think we can fit in right over here, a double heat sink. So that would be something kind of like that. 0.55 tons remaining. Okay, so with half a ton remaining here, we do have 2 medium lasers in the CT already. So that is definitely intriguing. The heat efficiency is not phenomenal at this juncture. Okay, I'm thinking about how we might want to handle that. So we need half a ton in order to put another heat sink in. We could definitely get half a ton if we wanted to strip off some armor. I would prefer not to. We could put in like ECM here. That would be reasonably fine. And we would be able to put in... What kind of... We probably want something along the lines of a clan standard FCS. Because this is a pretty generic build, right? It's not really focused on any one particular thing. Beyond that, I would like to have better sensors on here for sure. So in terms of sensors, what do we have? Where are our sensors? Here we go. We could definitely do clan sensors. We've only got the basic cockpit on hand right now, so that's fine, I guess. The heat efficiency of this is not great. It's 23 heat delta. So that is absolutely noted. I would like to get another double heatsink in, and that would be a clan double heatsink. We would need an inner sphere double heatsink because we don't have clan double heatsink kits, right? Actually, we do. So if we did that, we would be able to put in how many clan double heatsinks? Ooh, okay. We can put in 2 clan double heatsinks like this. That is a significant improvement for us. Heat delta of 17 heat. We're 0.45 tons overweight, so we need to do something about our weight situation. I want to check in on the UAC-10 ammo. I believe we only have the standard UAC-10 ammo. Yes, that is correct. So this would be 20 shots or 10 turns of ammo at full bore. And then the MRM ammo, this is going to be a total of 600 shots. That's a good number of shots for an MRM 40. Okay, so this is, I think, reasonably fine. We just need to shave off a little bit of weight. We could take off a little bit of weight in these arms, something like this. And then a tiny bit of weight in the legs. I don't like removing this armor here, but something kind of like that. All we've got out here is lasers, so that's not that big of an issue. We'll validate that. We'll get that going. It's pretty expensive. It's going to take 12 days. Okay. And it is past time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And we are going to get all of these mechs up and running relatively quickly, actually. So that should be fine, but it is going to take longer than the month report. That's okay. We had a good month, even with losing the grasshopper. It's completely fine. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Shadow Wolf, Atala, Ali Lee, Dark Horse, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Soccerman12 UK, Kentogan, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.